All right, hello. I am the Wolf.
And Daddy-O, hello out there in YouTube and internet land.
Yeah, we're ready to do our next one. So we mentioned last week we'll be talking about Ragnarok and Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then also additionally, it's Friday. When did we watch it?
I don't know, but just a couple days ago
Just a couple days ago. We watched the movie The Dead Don't Die,
with Adam Driver and Bill Murray.
and
Funny ass film.
we'll be talking about that too. And then towards the end of the video, we'll have a little new segment that we're going to debut, but we'll go ahead and start now.
Daddy-O reacts.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and Ragnarok.
Yeah, so that came out in what, 2017?
That or 16? No, wait. When did Age of Ultron come out?
Why are you asking
15?
me these things?
I don't know, because it takes place 2 years after Age of Ultron, and usually the MCU movies take place the year that they came out. So, assuming Ultron came out in 15, I could just Google this.
Yeah, but does Asgard time match Earth time?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
You said they take place the year they came out.
Hmm.
We don't know what year they are on Asgard.
But they weren't on Asgard. They were on Sakaar. So, ha.
Even that.
Um,
That's what we got to talk about. Was one, okay, we'll see if there's an agreement. I thought that the comedy was too much, that it could have been dialed back a little bit. I mean, it was basically a straight up comedy movie with Marvel. I mean, their trademark or their hallmark is action with some humor sprinkled in, but this was like a comedy movie from the get go to the end, and I didn't really. I still love the movie, but I didn't like that. I think the comedy should have been dialed down a little bit. What do you think?
I agree with you. Comedy was at 11, could have been dialed back to like a 9.
9 or 8?
Yeah. And see, the thing too is, from what I've heard, is Ragnarok is the best Thor film. Between
Well,
one and
there's.
two, and then
I say there.
Ragnarok.
Well, see, 2 gets this bum rap that it was too dark. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't see it being the tone being any different than the first Thor movie.
Hmm.
So those two, to me, in my mind, are the same. This was
Very
comedy,
very comedy.
and it was.
But it was good.
I liked it. You know, I mean, the comedy stuff was great. It was
Hmm.
just, man, a
I
little
mean,
too
even
much.
from the beginning when Thor is talking with Surtur, yeah, the big lava dude,
Hmm.
Surtur. There's a lot of S names in that movie too, but like him just like spinning on the chain as he's like
Yeah,
listening to Surtur give his whole speech.
yeah, that was funny.
Um, but it was good. I don't think there were too many things that I had complaints about in that movie. I mean,
No,
like we said, the
was that the
comedy.
last Stan Lee cameo?
No, no,
He's the barber.
because he's in Endgame.
Oh, that's right. Well,
Yeah.
he's digital
Well, yeah,
'70s Stan Lee. So
yeah. Then I think it's Captain Marvel. Is his last.
is he in it?
Yeah, he's in Captain Marvel somewhere.
I'll have to watch it again to
Yeah,
find out. Now,
that was
here's the
well.
thing: we're going back in time because it's been 3 years since we did our podcasting, and hopefully, if you were a subscriber then, or you're still a subscriber
Hmm.
now,
Yeah.
we got some shout outs to do at the end. Um, but anyway, you get back on Thor 3 was also, I love the music. It was like really weird 80s video game music, and it
Hmm.
was done by Mark Mothersbaugh, the guy behind Devo, one of the guys behind Devo. So that's cool. I mean, if they wanted that kind of music, they went to the perfect guy.
Hmm.
Um, also, just on that, it's going to bring me up to it seems like Thor Ragnarok has inspired Wonder Woman 84, which is the Wonder Woman
Oh,
movie
right,
that's
because
coming
they're.
out, because they're taking place, well, not that they're taking place at the same, but that kind of comedy and that kind of music score in the
Hmm.
background. Because it sounded like in the commercial they use that song by New Order. How does
Oh,
it feel?
oh,
They're
okay.
using that in the
Trailer.
trailer, and that song came out in '83. So seems like they're going to be in the same vein. I don't know because
Hmm.
I don't even know when it's coming out now because we're in such a strange time.
Right. What? what I find interesting about Thor Ragnarok, there was that thing that didn't make a lot of sense. Um, was Odin tells Thor that, and I think he tells Loki too, but he tells Thor that if Hela gets to Asgard, her power would be unstoppable. And so she's supposed to grow in power when she gets to Asgard. But then later, um, Thor is talking to Odin, and he's like, "Well, Asgard was never a place; it's a people." So then she's drawing power from the Asgardians, but she's slaughtered
Yeah. Well,
nearly
see,
all of
that
them.
was no. You're taking that too literal. It's metaphorical.
Uh
He's
huh.
talking about as far as Thor is concerned. It's always a place in his heart. It doesn't have. He doesn't have to be. That's why they went to Norway, and that was like
Right,
New
New
Asgard.
Asgard. All
So
right. Well,
you taking that too literally. You do that a lot.
perhaps. But I mean, again, that was really the only hang up I had. But
Also, one of the co-stars in there, Carl Urban.
yeah,
He
dude.
did a good job as
Uh,
his. He was Scourge.
yeah. So okay, so I talked about the S names: Sakar, Surtur, Scourge, and there was a few more.
Oh, we got to give a shout out to Jeff Goldblum.
That was
as,
good.
as the game master.
Game Master.
That's what I said.
It sounded like you said Game Master, but whatever.
Well, it depends on how you put the hyphen.
Yeah. Anyways, Game
Game master.
Master.
And plus, we're like Goldblum fans anyway because we watch The World According to Jeff
Hmm.
Goldblum. He's the same as the game master as he is in real life.
Yeah, pretty much. Um,
Plus, he was here in our hometown.
that's true. Couldn't get that shout out. Anyways, sorry, I'm bitter. Um, anyways, Thor. Focusing on Ragnarok. Yeah, I don't really have anything to, anything negative. I will say the one thing I would have liked to see better, even though it explains like, oh, this is what happened to Bruce Banner. He's been on Sakaar, battling in the gladiatorial arena. Uh, but there's that whole comic that's World War Hulk, I want to say, is where he is on a gladiatorial planet and he's fighting, and Thor's not involved in this at all. Um, and like he ends up, nobody can defeat Hulk, so he ends up like ruling the planet. He's got a wife, he's got children, and then somehow his wife gets murdered. Spoilers. I don't remember how. And so, like, this makes the Hulk angry. But he decides to go back to Earth and wage war because in the comic book, the Illuminati, which is Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Reed Richards, not Usain Bolt, Black Bolt,
So it's all the smart guys
all the smart guys,
or
and
the
then
Illuminati.
and one more, I think. I can't remember. But basically, those people decide that like Hulk is too dangerous to keep on Earth, so they send him to, let's say, Sakaar, because I don't remember if that's the name of the book or the name of the planet in the book. And that's where takes over the planet, gets his wife. His wife dies, and so like he decides, well, it's their fault. So he goes back to Earth and he starts doing a huge old fight. So they took that part of the story, the World War Hulk,
Right.
and just
And mashed it in with
into
the
Thor
Thor.
Ragnarok. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have liked to
I
see
think
the.
I had heard that ahead of time.
I would have liked to see the World War Hulk on its own, but it was still good. Like that was really the only
Now
thing.
we're not forward enough to talk about the next Hulk, but what did you think of like Hulk with his caveman dialogue?
Oh, you mean him speaking?
Yeah.
I'm not too upset with that. Like, they're in different versions. Hulk speaks differently.
Right.
Like, there was the cartoon. I don't know if it's still on, but
On Disney.
no, not on. Well, maybe it was Hulk in the Agents of Smash. But there, he talked just like you and I do, but he was just big and green. Um, excuse me, jeez. In the
All those Hulk cartoons are on Disney.
Yeah, probably. In some of the comic books, he also speaks more caveman like he does in Ragnarok.
Right.
So I mean,
You didn't
it's
have a problem
fine.
with that?
And in sides, they hinted at it in the first Avengers movie after he finishes smashing the ground with Loki, and he calls him puny god.
Which is one of my favorite
Yeah,
scenes.
I love that scene. It's great. And then they brought it back for Ragnarok when Thor gets smashed on the ground, and Loki's like, "Yes, that's
Yeah.
how that feels." Oh my gosh, I don't know. So for me, I wasn't. I'm gonna say his name wrong, probably. I wasn't familiar with Tom Hiddleston. Is that
I
his
think it is. I don't remember if there's an S in there. Or, yeah, Hiddleston.
Hiddleston?
Yeah.
To me, I'm not really familiar with him of his work outside the Marvel universe. But I mean, now I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a great actor.
Although the first time I'd seen him is in Avengers, but he also did the biopic where he played Hank Williams Sr.
Okay.
And he had a show on in a limited series. I think it was BBC first, and then it came to TNT. It was called The Night Manager.
The Night Manager. Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know a lot of his stuff either. I still think, and they've kept him, so Marvel must agree that Mark Ruffalo is the best Hulk,
Yeah.
the best Banner, because
because technically it was Edward Norton before him.
well, and
Oh, well, and Eric Bana, but that wasn't in the MCU. 2008 was The Incredible Hulk, which came out after Iron Man,
right,
is in the MCU, and it was I just said his name, Edward Norton, and they
and
recasted him.
Edward Norton was, I don't know, his his Banner was all about just trying to find a cure
Yeah, to get
for
rid
the
of
Hulk.
it.
So he didn't seem like a doctor or a scientist, or he was just a person.
Mm-hmm.
Ruffalo Ruffalo is doing so good, and
Right.
he's got the nervousness, he's got the quirkiness, and then he's got the personality that comes out when he's digitized into the Hulk.
Yeah.
So this dude is perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he's
Even
doing
just
a
that
really good
small
job.
scene in where he's on the helicarrier, where it's him and
Captain Rogers?
yeah,
Oh, in the Avengers movie.
and Captain America, where and is there somebody else with them?
Yeah, and Romanoff is there.
Romanoff.
It's when the helicarrier is going to
Yeah,
start to
and
take
then
off.
she tells him to stand back. Well, that whole first scene when Ruffalo gets off the helicopter, and he's just that little interaction with Captain America. It's like he's perfect.
Yeah,
So,
he did a pretty good job.
and this one he's the talking, wisecracking,
Sidekick.
well, Hulk, and plus he's got like a bachelor pad, a Hulk
Mm-hmm.
bachelor pad.
Yeah.
What was the girl that played Valkyrie? Do you remember?
No, I
She
can't.
also had a S name too, Scrapper
Oh,
232 or
yeah.
whatever she called herself.
You mean the actress though?
Yeah,
I can't remember her name. I can see her in like, I can see her in my mind. This happens a lot.
She's gone off to do some off Marvel stuff too. That looks
Yeah,
pretty good
this happens to me a lot in which I can visualize the person and just their name does not
because we don't
exist.
believe in research.
Yeah.
We're just doing this off the top of
My
our head.
phone's right here. I could Google this and know it, but I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so we've talked about how much we like that.
Yeah, and I don't have any problems with it. Again, just the comedy could have been dialed back, but it was a good movie.
Because it was just fresh in our minds before we forget. We talk about Dead Don't Die.
The Dead Don't Die? Okay, we'll talk about The Dead Don't Die. Um that was a great we seen the trailer for it
a couple of years ago.
and it was Adam Driver and Bill Murray and I was like, "Are you yes, I want to see that movie." And then like we said, things get in the way and we just kind of never got around to it.
But it just so happened we were able to watch it a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Friday, I guess.
It was Friday or Saturday. But we saw it and man, that was just so good.
Also, the other Chloe, I don't know how to say her last name. Chloe Sevigny, whatever her name is. She's in it. Bit parts by
Now
Carol
Chloe,
Kane. Also, Steve Buscemi as Farmer Bob. Was that
I
his
think
name?
Farmer Bob or Bill or something, like something very
Farmer.
stereotypical.
Who else was it? There was some other cameos or bit parts.
Selena Gomez.
Selena, yeah, Selena Gomez,
Yeah.
and also there was, and then the guy who, well, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to say, but there's a singer, writer, producer, director. I think he does all that kind of stuff. An actor named Tom Waits. He's
Hmm.
in it too. But
Yeah.
Adam Driver, Chloe, and
Chloe is the ancient one from Doctor Strange.
no,
No.
that's Tilda Swinton.
Oh, Tilda
You
Swinton's in
just
it.
just brought that up. Yeah,
But
the
who's the
ancient one from
Chloe? Who is in?
She's the other deputy,
Oh, okay.
and this movie, the humor is very dry.
It's almost
It's
like a
almost
British.
British.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, did Simon Pegg write this? What the hell's
Oh
going
no,
on
although
here?
Simon Pegg's comedy is not very dry. Come on, Hot Fuzz. You got Shaun of the Dead, Paul.
Yeah, but what about Run Fat Boy
I
Run?
haven't seen that one.
You know, he doesn't just do that. I mean, his stuff is, well, okay. Then Ricky Gervais, did Ricky
Okay,
Gervais
yeah,
write
there you
this?
go. That's a bit more dry.
Because this stuff was so low key, low pace, nonchalant,
Yeah, and the thing too is
and Adam Driver, which you know is Kylo Ren in the Star Wars
universe.
universe, but his his deputy, whatever his name was,
Well, Rodney. They called him Deputy Rod, or it was like Rodney, and they called him Rod for short.
no, you go by the last name.
Oh,
You,
I don't remember what his last
but
name was.
anyway, he was hilarious
Yeah,
when they decided what was going on. I can tell you like a little bit of the basis of the film,
yeah.
but don't know what started it. What
Like what created? Oh, because so the backstory to it. So it's a zombie movie. The dead don't die, obviously.
and it's an adaptation off a comic.
Yeah. But it had to do with like polar fracking that moved the Earth off
Off
of its
its
axis,
access.
and so with it off its axis, it
Shit happened.
pretty much that's what
The
happened.
planet went crazy.
Yeah, and it
Okay, so
created
that's,
zombies.
and then after the first incident,
Oh, Iggy Pop was.
oh yeah, Iggy Pop was a zombie, yeah,
Yeah.
and he looks like a zombie anyway. He's 73,
Yeah.
4. But after the first incident, when they're talking about it, what could cause this, and Bill Murray just deadpans, and you could talk about the height thing. Bill
Yeah.
Murray just deadpans to Adam Driver. He's all, so what are your thoughts on this? And Adam Driver's like, really? You really want to know? And he's all, yes, I really want to know. He's all, I'm thinking
Zombies.
zombies.
Um,
Bill
so
Murray goes, what?
so I don't know if you have seen anything Driver has done comedy related besides that movie, because he's done stuff on
Well, it's in
SNL.
our movie queue.
Yeah. Well, no, like his stuff on SNL and everything. He's actually pretty funny. He's really good.
Yeah, but his stuff on SNL wasn't it Star Wars related?
Not all of it. I'll you know what? I'll have to show you a clip called "The Science Room." That's freaking
Oh, I
hilarious.
saw that one.
And then there's another one where he works at like this Ren Fair type place where they have like medieval jousting and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
you
he's
showed me
like,
once.
but then he takes like theater classes or improv classes. So like he brings his own stuff, and yeah, so he's pretty funny. And then we're well aware of Bill Murray stuff.
I'm even more aware
Yeah,
than you are
that's
because
true.
I'm
But
older.
and he's just
He's
that
just
dude.
Bill Murray.
That dude's hilarious.
He's just
But
icon
I mean, if
status.
you're used to a Bill Murray film and you're used to how he acts, chuck it out the window because he does not act that way. Like if you think Ghostbusters, if you think
Yeah, Stripes.
Stripes, Groundhog
Yeah,
Day,
because he's mostly just a slacker smartass. And
yeah,
so shout out to Adam Sandler stealing his shtick.
yeah.
But yeah, in this one,
He's like serious, but it's the dry British humor
and
that's kind of
he's
coming
and he
out.
plays just like basically a normal person,
Mhm.
no quirks.
Yeah,
They don't mention anything quirky about him,
I
like if he sleeps weird or if he.
I think the only thing is he wanted to go to the diner for coffee and donuts, and he was like kept trying to get people to do it. Like that was it. But it was still hilarious.
Oh, that movie is funny as hell, man.
There was an interesting thing, and I mentioned this in the previous video. Adam Driver is 6'2", And at the very beginning of the movie, there's this shot of Bill Murray and Adam Driver. They're in the forest because they're talking to Hermit Dave,
Hermit Bob.
Hermit Bob. Okay,
So
uh,
Farmer Frank.
Farmer Frank and Hermit. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
there
what it
we
was.
go.
But anyway, so they're talking to him because like he's accused of stealing a chicken from Farmer Frank and everything. But I noticed that when they're standing there, that Bill Murray is almost like is almost eye level with Driver, and I was like, well, that's weird. So I just pulled up my phone and I googled Bill Murray. Turns out he's 6'2" as well.
Yeah, Adam Driver is 6'2",
So
but then all the rest of the scenes, Adam Driver
Driver's
appears taller.
taller. Yeah. So I was wondering about that. I'm not sure
Why?
why that was a thing.
Why does the younger guy have to be the taller guy?
Maybe
That's
it's just that
discrimination against senior citizens.
whatever. I think it was just that his character was supposed to be shorter. I don't know. It's kind of like that Jack Reacher thing where Jack Reacher's supposed to be
Well, in the books,
tall, and then it's played by I can see him.
Tom Cruise.
Thank you, Tom Cruise. See, it doesn't just happen with women. It just happens with all actors and actresses. Yeah, and then Tom Cruise is 5'5",
No, he's taller than that.
5'6", 5'7",
somewhere around.
But anyways, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe just that character was supposed to be shorter. But I was like, wow, I didn't think Bill Murray was that tall. But yeah, no, that movie
That movie was hilarious. Go if you can rent it through whatever.
Redbox, Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's on Netflix. It might be.
I don't think so, or else we would have. That's where we would have picked it from.
Maybe. But anyways, highly recommend checking that film out. I will say it's not really a spoiler, but it's a pretty funny little thing. Towards the end of the movie, they're gonna go out and well, they're just gonna go on patrol. And was it say her name?
Tilda Swinton.
Thank you. Asks to have access to Adam Driver's personal or his character in Rodney's car, and he says, "Yeah," and he takes out his keys and he gives it to her, and on his keychain is a Star Destroyer, and she like looks at it and looks at him and says, "Star Wars, good fiction," and I don't. It was just that was great. I thought it was awesome.
Should have left that for people to find out.
Yeah, but oh well.
Um,
I think that's it. It's a good movie. Watch it. Nothing really bad about it.
So back to Marvel Universe with Homecoming.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which was the first
solo
movie for
Spider-Man.
No, what's his
Tom Holland?
Tom Holland.
Well, no, he did in the MCU probably. But,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, because
this was his first outing as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Solo from him appearing in
Ender's Game. Well, is
Tom Marvel.
Oh well, say that.
Well, I just did.
Civil War.
Yes, this was his because they rushed to get him into Civil War. They stopped production. They rewrote this. They rewrote the script to put him in because they had gotten permission from Sony, and then that created the buzz for the release of Homecoming, which I don't even know how many months later, a year later, whatever, was so good. And he is the perfect kid to play Spider-Man and Peter Parker over that.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield and Amazing Spider-Man 1
and 2. That was Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 was Andrew Garfield, and then the Sam Raimi trilogy is Tobey Maguire.
Right.
Yeah.
This kid, Tom Holland, in Homecoming he did remind me of Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
He did. So that's why it was almost like a continuation, even though they kind of rebooted the story. Thank God they didn't do an origin because we already know. And that's what they said too. They weren't going to do it. It's like that's been done to death. So,
in my list of top 5 favorite superheroes, number 1 is John Stewart, Green Lantern, and then we have Peter Parker as a Spider-Man. It's like, and it's a very, very, very close second. But I love Spider-Man.
if I were to do that, I couldn't make up a five right now, but my number one all-time favorite is going to be Wolverine.
Oh yeah, Wolverine's awesome.
And now Spider-Man's top five.
Spider-Man is a very close. Like if I didn't know about the Green Lantern Corps and like that whole mythos, then Spider-Man would be at number one. Like no question about it. But I do know about it, so he takes a second spot.
So anyway, Homecoming, and the villain was
Vulture, and
Michael Keaton as the
Michael
Vulture. Michael Keaton's great, did a great job, fantastic job. And he also didn't play a typical Michael Keaton character, which is cool because that comes off of his movie.
Was it Birdman or was there
Yeah,
something before that?
yeah, Birdman.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's an awesome film. That is an awesome film. You haven't seen it, have you?
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen it all
you
the
need
way
to see
through.
the whole thing. It's great. So anyway, you got the character depth and change that he did in Birdman, and he brought a little bit of that to Victor Toombs. Was that his name? Something Toombs.
Yeah, I think Victor Toombs is correct.
Which what's another Victor? Come on.
It happens.
They're lazy.
People get lazy when you name things.
His Vulture was awesome. We still say, even though we went back and in the original trilogy, Harry, no, Norman Osborn put together that
Peter Parker's
Peter
Spider-Man.
was Spider-Man fairly quickly. But if you discount that because it's not part of the official MCU, and you go back and you look at Homecoming, Victor Toombs is like the smartest criminal ever.
Yeah, because he figures out at a stoplight.
At a stoplight, which is 2 minutes max. Well, depending on where you're at.
I mean, some of these stoplights around here take forever.
So he figured it out like just by a couple of words and phrases, like okay. And then Peter's looking all nervous and like he drops the daughter off, and then he pulls out the gun.
Yeah, he's just like bam, like he knew it. I thought that they captured Spider-Man insanely well. The writers and Tom Holland's portrayal,
and RDJ.
Yeah, and he was in it too. But
what I mean, saying the interaction between RDJ and Tom Holland was excellent. It stayed that way too, consistently.
Yeah, but Spider-Man is a wisecracking 15-year-old teenager. Well, at the start, but that's whatever.
Our attack dog is going off.
Yeah, you might hear that. Or sorry about that.
Bella, come here.
I think it's the mailman is out.
No, it's the neighbor.
Anyways, to me, I thought it was great because he is a wisecracker, but at the same time, he's trying to figure out how to be this superhero with these powers because he's 15 years old.
And it was just like in the first movie, the quote that Uncle Ben gave him resonated with him till at the end of the movie in the graveyard scene.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's right, huh? That's what you are. Huh?
But anyways, I thought it was great. There were a couple things that I had a problem with. Mainly the spider sense, which they brought back up again in Homecoming.
It doesn't always.
No, not Homecoming. I'm sorry, Far From Home. But see, that's the thing, because like if you watch Civil War, when they're having the airport fight, Spider-Man is dealing with Falcon, and he throws him away. He's chasing him, and then Winter Soldier throws a car door at him. And like you see Spider-Man, it zooms in on his face. He's like, "Oh God!" And he ducks, and then he throws it back at him. But then you watch Homecoming, and he falls down an elevator shaft. I was like, he didn't know his webs were breaking, or the metal was breaking to stop himself.
Well, there was a couple of things that were also like they would zoom in, and you would hear that noise. You'd see his hair on his arm stand up, his pupils dilate, and you hear that zoom sound, whatever, and he would know. Other times, stuff would happen, and it's like, well, wait a minute, why didn't his spider sense tell him that?
I know, and
so it's very selective for some reason.
Right, and how the spider sense works, for those of you that aren't aware, it's not just a simple alarm. It gives Peter omnipresent detection of his surroundings, which is like he web slings through New York, and he doesn't look where he shoots his webs because the spider sense is doing it. In the comics, he has fought Captain America and Thor not at the same time, but well, probably blindfolded, and he fought them to a standstill because of the spider sense, as allowing him to basically know where they are and counterattack and all of this kind of stuff. He's developed his own martial art, the way of the spider. Now I get it. This is early. This is early Spider-Man, but like, why isn't his spider sense working as well as it should? Um, even if he doesn't know, like, because one of the things is his spider sense can be tricked if he doesn't think he's in danger. Basically, the spider sense warns him, hey, there's danger, and it's up to him to react. But his reflexes are so great. Like, I don't know. But that's kind of the only gripe I had with it. Because they showed his strength really well, his speed. No, that was the other thing, his speed. Spider Man can run up to 200 miles per hour, but he had trouble chasing down a truck that was doing 80, 90 max.
If that.
If that, because it was a van too, loaded down with equipment, and he had trouble chasing it down. But other than that, they got his speed, his intelligence, his character really right. I said speed again, but they didn't get his speed right.
His agility.
His agility, thank you. But other than that, I thought it was great.
What about making Aunt May a MILF?
I don't want to.
Instead of the old lady.
Well, interestingly enough,
I'm glad with the choice.
If you look at the Spider-Man movies, actually, not as each individual film, but as they did it, Aunt May actually got younger. So we started with
the first three.
No. So in the first one, you got again, I can see her. I can't think of her name, but she played Aunt May, and then she was however old. And then when they did The Amazing Spider-Man, Aunt May got younger. I don't even know who.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then we get to
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, is the Aunt May's got younger.
See Amazing 1 and 2. I've seen clips from them. I didn't want to see them. They look like total garbage.
I didn't.
So I don't know who played Aunt May.
I didn't see him either, so I don't know.
So yeah.
I don't know though. Other than that, is great. Ned, his friend Ned. Who again, I can see the actor, I just cannot think of his name. I thought he was a funny little addition, give give Peter a little sidekick. Or he calls it.
Isn't he? He's bald in real life.
Yeah,
but he wears a wig for.
He calls himself the man in the chair, the guy in the chair,
something like that.
Yeah,
chair guy.
I think that's funny. I love it that he's helping Peter at the end of the movie. He's helping him like chase down
Flash.
Well, yeah, he's helping him track like Flash so he can get Flash's car and then drive to Victor Toombs, the Vulture. So that I thought all that was great. He's pretty funny. Vulture was really cool. I would have liked it if his wings would have been a little bit more sleek. Because they're just all huge and everything. Like, I get it; it's supposed to allow him to fly and everything. But
then look at versus the comic book Vulture wings. They were just like bird feather wings. This dude made mechanical wings with jet engines, or whatever.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
so if you're using jet engines, you can't make them
sleek.
He's not the Falcon.
That's true.
Okay,
but anyways,
let's talk about. The end though. Well, I mean, most people have seen this, so we're not spoiling. When he, if you compare, I'm going to do this. If you compare Osborn,
William Dafoe,
if you go with that character, remember at the end when he's talking, he's trying to lure Spider-Man, and he's like, "Oh, thank God for you, Peter," and all this,
right?
And he kind of. Once he knew who he was, he was okay with it, I guess you want to say. When Victor Toombs realized that Peter was Spider-Man at the end when they were fighting, and he doesn't kill him, even though Victor tried to kill him, Peter doesn't kill him.
Yeah,
he basically just saves him and puts him in jail. So the loyalty, he kind of shows it to him in prison when
by not telling Matt Gargan who he is.
Yeah, and he's Scorpion.
Yeah, he will be Scorpion eventually.
Yeah, if they do it right.
Yeah.
So that little interaction, I'm comparing that to the death scene with Harry Osborn,
You with Norman Osborn
Norman Osborn. I
when
keep saying
when he
it.
jumps out of the way of the glider.
Yeah.
Godspeed,
Godspeed,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Ooh. Also, I wanted William Dafoe. It's just great. Now, one of the things that I kind of don't like, and it's not any. Her name is Zendaya.
Mm-hmm. She's a singer.
Not that I don't like her or the character she plays. I don't like that her name is MJ because she's not Mary Jane. Okay, you don't want to go that route, but Peter has a love interest. Fun fact: Spider-Man is credited with the most girlfriends out of any superhero. There's literally a plethora of females for them to choose to be his love interest. You don't have to create this new person and call her MJ.
Well, maybe that's what the point was because they know there's so many.
Yeah.
Because they've already shown Gwen Stacy
And yeah, but I
and
mean,
Mary
like
Jane Watson. So, and we didn't see
Betty
Amazing, so we don't know.
well, that one is Gwen Stacy. But I mean, in Homecoming and in Far From Home, Betty Brant is in there. But she, well, for Far From Home, she gets with Ned. She dates Ned. That's Betty Brant, which is one of his girlfriends. There's Jean DeWolf, although that's older Spider-Man because she is a police detective. But there's Felicia Hardy. I would love to see Felicia Hardy because she becomes Black Cat, and that's really really cool. Basically, Spider-Man and Black Cat is like Batman and Catwoman. But I would love to see Felicia Hardy.
Well, see, and then that'll be the next talking point is um, back in 2016, there was the North Koreans hacked Sony Studios
Right.
and released all kinds of information. And the woman that was in charge at Sony, named Amy Pascal, a bunch of her interior memos got leaked, and one of them is she was wanting to broker a deal with Marvel. She got punished for that. Well, she got punished for them hacking her,
Mm-hmm.
and so she got demoted to a producer or something. But that deal that she wanted, people were like, "Hell yeah, let's!" Because the Sony Spider-Man movies were
Well, I mean, but the Sam Raimi ones were good.
no, but remember that's not MCU, as
No,
you like to point out.
you said Sony,
I know Sony did 1 and 2,
and
Amazing 1 and 2,
and they also did the Sam Raimi trilogy.
but that's not MCU, as you keep pointing out.
Yeah,
So
neither are the
don't.
Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Well,
No, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are not in the MCU.
right, and they're crap because who didn't do them? Marvel.
Well, yeah, but
So I'm getting to the point that because their movies were crap, they wanted to make a deal with Marvel to let them make the movies for them, which they did. Sony distributed the films, Marvel made the films.
Right.
And that's where they hit on the perfect combination as far as letting Marvel do Spider-Man. Thank God. Now, in the interim, what has happened is Sony took back their permission. They're not letting Marvel do it. They're going to say, well, we'll just do it ourselves, which I think is going to be a disaster. Well, will they recast Tom Holland? We don't know. Look at Amazing 1 and 2. They are garbage. So I think it's a totally bad idea to take Spider-Man away from Disney Marvel and put him back with Sony because their track record is crap.
Well,
so whenever they make the next Spider-Man movie is whenever.
I don't know.
Whenever it comes out. And especially now when we don't know when filming for stuff is going to begin again.
Which reminded me, because we haven't seen the season 10 finale of Walking Dead yet. Because that's been postponed.
But they filmed it, but they were having trouble doing all the post editing. So they said they're just going to show it at some other time in the year, which is like, can you be any more vague? Does that mean they're going to show it like right before
they could
the season premiere? Which I'm kind of thinking that's what they're going to do, which actually is not bad instead of having to wait 6 months.
Yeah. I think that's everything.
Oh no, there's a couple more things, but also quarantine life isn't really affecting us that much, is it? Is it affecting you?
I mean, like I don't get to see my friends as much as I'd like to.
but you can see them on
Yeah, but Zoom, yeah,
Zoom
but
or the
like
phone or
Zoom is a
whatever.
little bit different, but you know, not too much. Thankfully, my job is considered essential, so I still have work. Um,
We go to the store when we want to. We go, well, there's a lot of times where we do a lot of fast food runs,
yeah, too many,
drive through
way too
runs.
many.
It's not affecting me either, really. If I want to be in touch with people, it's all social medias.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Hope everybody out there is safe and digging and just doing your part for during the quarantine and the what do you
Yeah,
call it?
it's shelter in place.
Shelter in place
The other thing
or
too.
martial law, as liberals like to call it.
Well, it's almost like basically once he starts pulling in the military. Anyways, the one thing that I keep forgetting is that the college I attend actually has a shorter semester. So some people are still in their semesters, and mine's already over. So now basically what I do is, and I'm lucky enough, I still get to go to work, but like that's pretty much my social interaction is I'm at home with him and then I go to work and that's it. I still get a couple people to come over to my house for Friday, but
For
only
D&D.
for Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, but I only have only two of them come, and then the rest are all on Zoom.
Which that's actually kind of cool because then you're adhering to the
I'm adhering to their
social distance. Because before you
yeah,
guys were all sitting together, I'm like, what? You guys don't
yeah.
know 6 feet? Come on.
Well, there's too many.
Also, we want to talk about the Netflix Marvel universe.
Yes,
That's happened since we did our
yeah,
last
because that
podcast.
stuff is good too. Actually, I think well, Daredevil started before. Who started this?
Daredevil started, and to me, out of the four, it's the best one. I know
Oh,
you.
the movie, the shows, yeah.
Yeah, talking about the Netflix shows.
Hmm.
The D'Onofrio, Vincent
Oh
D'Onofrio's
my
Kingpin
gosh,
is
that
the
was
greatest, almost one of the best TV characters ever created,
hmm
ever. D'Onofrio does such a good job as Kingpin.
for my frame of
Oh
reference
my
for
goodness.
D'Onofrio. He was he was Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket, and then I don't remember. It was a CSI or was it an
It
NCIS?
was a. He was actually not see it. It was
Law and Order.
Law and Order, Law and Order, Criminal Intent,
Okay, yeah,
and that was a pretty intense character. He did some crazy shit in
I
that one.
I haven't seen like every episode of that. I've only watched a few.
Hmm.
But like so that's for me that Gomer Pyle
Oh, and his partner was hideous. Ooh, she was scary.
and
Catherine Birdie.
and Criminal Intent. Like that's pretty much my only exposure. Although I think he did a couple other movies I've
Well,
seen.
but what's the thing that we always do when Men in Black comes on?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's Vincent D'Onofrio
Yeah,
too.
when we see the first
Men in
Men in
Black.
Black, we always get everybody into see how skinny he used to be and laugh at him.
Yeah. But him as Kingpin. Oh, I
And then like
man, you know,
we weren't sure at first. Well, is he doing good? Is he
yeah,
going to be evil enough? And then he killed
yeah.
the
So
car door.
okay, so I will make this confession. When the Daredevil Netflix series came out, I watched the entirety in like one night. Well, 100%, I watched it all one night. And so like, and that did a disservice to it, honestly, because I didn't. I was like, nah.
That's why I try not to binge.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what, D'Onofrio wasn't that good. And then like I came here to watch it, and then Dad and I we would watch one or two episodes a
A
night,
night
and then with
mom.
yeah with Grandma, and taking it in that chunks, one or two episodes a night really gave me time to digest it and be like, oh yeah, no, okay, he is doing a great job. This is pretty phenomenal.
And I don't know much about Charlie Cox either. He's a British actor
Yeah, I don't know.
because everybody's British.
I don't know anything about him either, but I mean, he did great as Daredevil. I really liked him a lot, and actually, I think all the people in that show, with the exception of D'Onofrio, I don't think I've seen them in other stuff. Karen Page, who I don't know who she was played by, or Foggy Nelson. I also don't know who played him. but I don't think I've seen those people in anything else ever.
And think about who else was in it.
Those were just like the main cast
Yeah.
that I can
So
think of.
yeah, we don't know.
Oh wait, the guy that played Ben Urich. I'm sure I've seen him somewhere, but I don't know.
I don't remember.
I know
I
I've
have to
seen
go back
him
and watch it.
somewhere.
So then next came Jessica Jones, which was
Good.
excellent show with Doctor Who himself, David Tennant,
Yeah,
playing Purple Man or Purple Guy.
Mr. Purple. Or no, yeah, no, the Purple Man is what his name is.
Yeah.
The Purple Man.
And
Now her, the actress that played Jessica Jones. Again, I don't know what her name is.
Christine Ritter.
Thank you. What I've seen her in previous to Jessica Jones was she was on Breaking Bad. She was Jesse's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And oh my God, Breaking
She's
Bad.
done
is
a
so
few
good.
other. She's done a few other things too, off the top of my head. Now I can't
Think of
I
it.
couldn't tell you, but Christine Ritter did a good job staying true to the character.
Mm-hmm.
And then she interacted with that spinoff,
Luke Cage,
which was Luke Cage, and I liked Luke Cage the first season. You weren't.
I wasn't.
You gave up on it. Didn't even finish it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's. I don't know. Luke Cage is an interesting character. Bella, shh. Luke Cage. Oh, okay. Luke Cage is like an interesting character, and I'm sure there was like interesting stuff written. But when you have a character, and it's kind of like the Superman effect as well, where it's like pretty much nothing will harm them. It's like, well, okay. So I know that pretty much any situation he's in, unless the Superman syndrome is, unless his like very specific weakness is in it, then like it's not going to harm him. Because like I think the first episode, maybe I could be wrong, he's like standing in the restaurant and they shoot a bazooka and like blow up the restaurant, and then his shirt's just a little messed up and he's like, oh bummer, like whatever. So
But he didn't really, since you didn't watch it all the way through, you don't know that somebody did develop something that could hurt him.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
So he wasn't as
invulnerable
as Superman because his only weakness is kryptonite, right?
Magic, and if he loses solar radiation, he becomes weaker.
So,
which is how Doomsday kills him.
So, Luke Cage, who I don't know why they didn't call it Power Man. They made some references because that's who he was in the comics.
Yeah, Power Man.
Power Man. Luke Cage was and his sidekick that kept like video and everything. She's gonna do that until the mailman passes by.
Yeah.
So that was good. I enjoyed both seasons. I liked the first season better. If I remember, no, first season was he went against his half brother, Diamondback, about half the season through. Yeah, I didn't care for the Diamondback character that much. The secondary characters, which was Theo Rossi, who played Shades. Theo Rossi he was Juice on Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
And Mariah Dillard was what the hell's her name? The one that's on How to Get Away with Murder.
I don't watch the show.
But anyway, she did an excellent job. They were I call them the stew. You want to pause it?
Okay, sorry about that. We had to wait for the mailman to leave. But anyways, you were saying.
I call them the stew characters because they're in the background stewing, and then they emerge as bigger characters. Like, okay, now this guy legit don't know how to say his name. His last name is Ali. He's an African American actor. He went on to like win an Oscar after he was in the first half of it's like Marshall Walalabala Ali. After he was in the first half of Power Man of Luke Cage, I thought he was. I was like, oh, this dude's going to be a major character, and then turned out not to be because his sister knocked him off. But that guy also was. I didn't. He's gone on. He's in the Green Book. He's in. He's got some other stuff. He won an Oscar for something, and I didn't realize that. And you don't know this TV show, but back in the early 2000s, there was a show of one of those medical examiner departments um, procedural, cop procedural. It was called Crossing Jordan, and he was in the first season of that. And then
Hmm.
he think maybe I don't think he left after the first season or second. And that was a good show. But anyway, this guy is such a phenomenal actor that his character's name was Cottonmouth. I thought he was going to be this major player, and then he was done. And then they spun off. He meets up and interacts with
Iron Fist.
Danny Rand, the Iron Fist. I
I
like that one.
I watched all of season one, and I think I'm 2 or 3 episodes away from the end of season two. But I liked it. I liked Iron Fist. That was good. Fun fact: I practice martial arts, so anytime I see it's like, ooh, hey, look, martial arts stuff. I find it really fun. Uh, and like that's pretty much the entirety of Iron Fist. So I thought that was pretty cool. I know a bit about Iron Fist, not a whole lot. Um, but for some reason, a lot of people, what I was hearing is they really did not like Iron Fist. Like they didn't like the first
Yeah,
season.
I had heard about that too. I
Um,
liked it. I thought it was
good.
great. Also, Power Man and Iron Fist used to be a comic title in the 80s. It was a great selling title that Marvel had. I used to have a few issues in my
Mhm.
collection. They were always together as a team. So spinning off Iron Fist from Luke Cage was a in
Yeah.
keeping it with the tradition. I Danny Rand character was interesting. The guy that played him, Finn Jones, Finn somebody.
I want to say Finn Jones.
He was all right. He reminded me of somebody else. I can't think of the name right now. He reminded me of somebody else off the top of my head. But he did it as you grow into it. They started adding in characters and changing the stories around. It was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um, um,
And then was it? I want to say her name was Rosario Dawson, who played.
Claire Temple.
Yes, and she's the one that like basically tied it all together because she was
That and the hand.
and the hand, yeah. But she was in like every show.
Well, it's funny because
She started in Daredevil.
yeah, and they kind of had a relationship,
Kind of. They thought about it.
but then she does end up in a relationship with Luke Cage,
Yeah.
and then she's a friend of Danny Rand's.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was also a couple. There was a secondary character from
Misty Knight.
yeah, Misty Knight from. She's in both um, Luke Cage and
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. So, and then that actress has gone on to have a new show where
Mm-hmm.
she plays a judge on an ABC show. But
Uh,
Misty Knight was a good character because Danny sends her a mechanical arm
mm-hmm.
at the end.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
good show right there. His
it was.
girlfriend,
I don't remember the actress's name, but the character was Colleen Wing.
Colleen Wing,
Yeah.
she was good.
It was all really really cool. I like how the hand was the driving force between stuff, even in Daredevil when he didn't really know what the hand was.
Yeah, and then Luke Cage, it's just mentioned in passing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really talk. It doesn't really have any interaction stuff about the hand. Oh, and then you go back to third season Daredevil. No, second season Daredevil where he meets Elektra,
Mm-hmm. And
and
she's resurrected by the hand.
yeah, which was awesome. And then you get the culmination of them all coming together
For the Defenders.
for the Defenders, which was good. Although I think Punisher should have been in there.
Yeah, but he wasn't introduced yet. Oh no, he
Yeah, he
was
was.
because he came in second season of. But I mean, if you think the character that they developed, I don't think he would have. Although none of them really wanted to do it, but I feel like Frank Castle would have just left.
I think he would have just said the hand.
Yeah, didn't care. Now we can talk about
Punisher.
Punisher. Dear God, was that great? I'm gonna say his name wrong. Jonathan Bernthal.
I don't know if there's an N in it. I think it's just Berthal.
Or is it just Berthal?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. So for me, when I heard that that's who was gonna play the Punisher, I was not on board. I like the character Shane. we're also really into The Walking Dead. I like the character of Shane. He was an okay actor, but for me, that's my frame of reference is Shane on The Walking Dead, and which he dies off in season 2, and then I don't watch anything else with him in it. I don't know what he went on to do except for the Punisher, and so that was announced, and I was like, I don't know. And then he showed up in season 2 of Daredevil, and I was like, absolutely, give me more of this. I
And they
want to
did.
see this, and it was so good. They handled the gruesomeness of the character very very well. Um, the type of character that Frank Castle is supposed to be is what we get in Netflix. Uh, it's just basically a killing machine. Who he has his
Reasons.
own morals. Yeah,
Yeah, his own moral
moral
code.
code. It's like, oh, it's like because he tells Daredevil, he calls him Red, but he tells him like, oh, if, I forget who they're going after. He's like, well, if he's not a bad guy, he has nothing to fear from me. You know. Uh,
What I liked what the comparison that Punisher made. He
yeah,
told Daredevil, "You're just one bad day away from
from
being
being me.
me."
Yeah.
Which, if you follow the whole 3 seasons to Daredevil, is damn right.
Yeah, he gets really, really close because after in the Defenders, after the building gets dropped on him, and he survives and everything, and he finds out Fisk is still alive.
Hmm.
He pretty much he's acting like Castle,
Yeah.
more or less. Maybe a little less, but
Okay, and
pretty
then
much.
you did. Okay, so third season Daredevil. What did you think about them revealing his mother?
Mother, I saw it coming.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was like
Yeah.
as soon as that, I was like, that's his mom. Like saw it coming. Um, I feel that that's a nice like trauma. Well, that's a way. That's a weird way to say it, but I think
Dramatic.
yeah, like a nice trauma thing to do to him. Um, to just like make him because uh, they kind of showed it a little bit where he would go to confession, but
Hmm.
like Matt's a Catholic in the comics, and so
Or
usually
he's a
no, he's a Catholic.
well, but he's not a practicing Catholic. He
Uh,
just goes there to talk to that
priest. That
priest to kind of absolve him of what he's done
well,
in
that's in
during
the
the
show though.
day.
In
Yeah.
the comic, he is a Catholic, and so like a lot of what drives him, and a lot of what uh, uh, keeps him in check is like
His Catholic beliefs.
his Catholic beliefs. And then it's in Daredevil Reborn, I want to say, is when or Daredevil Rebirth or something like that. That's when he starts struggling, and that's where we get season 3 is like he's just his Catholicism takes a back seat.
That whole all 3 seasons of that show.
Is good.
I ranked that one. Okay, I'm gonna go Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica, um, Power Man, and I'll put Danny Rand in that last.
I agree. I would just switch Iron Fist and Luke Cage because I didn't like Luke Cage.
But and then a little tidbit on one of the actors. Wait, where am I going with this? Oh, Danny Rand's brother Ward Beecham.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's now on Ozark.
Oh, is
There's
he?
this guy named Ben Davis who's
Hmm.
the brother to the main female character, um, Wendy Bird, played by Laura Linney.
Hmm.
But Ward Beecham on Iron Fist was, I don't know, he's kind of wimpy, kind of nerdy, wimpy. I
Well,
mean, not
that's what he's supposed to be, though.
I don't know, but I didn't care for that character. His character was too much of a p word. But uh, his Ben Davis on Ozark, and Ozark is a fantastic show. That's one that I really love. And his character on there's got a lot more depth and everything, and it's really cool. So
Hmm.
I'm glad to see that he's not playing the same kind of a character because he's a good actor, I guess. After all,
Yeah. Daredevil, or I'm sorry, Punisher was great. And I think it's in the first season. No, or is it that in Daredevil? The fight scene of him in prison where
when
Wilson Fisk
yeah,
like uses him to gain power. I don't remember if that was
that's third season Daredevil.
yeah, I don't remember where that happens, but like that's like just if anybody says, "Oh, what's the Punisher about?" I show them that scene because that's him. It's great.
One thing about all the Netflix shows is they all had great fight scenes,
Yeah.
especially group fight scenes. One
Yeah.
on one scenes are okay, but when you had like Remember, I think it's in the Defenders, the hallway fight.
Yeah, well, there's like tons of the hallway fights, but yeah.
It's in the Defenders because oh no, that's just in Daredevil.
Well, yeah. So I mean, which one are you thinking of?
Well,
When he,
because that guy tells him, and you couldn't stop a guy with a no. What does he say? Because the guy's like, you couldn't stop a blind man or something like that. When he's
yeah,
telling one of his henchmen.
yeah. So there's, I mean, like I think in all of the shows there's a hallway fight scene or multiple, but there's the first one that started it from Daredevil where he goes to rescue the kid from I want to say the Russians. It's like the Russian mobsters.
There's always Russian bad guys.
And it doesn't follow him into the rooms. The camera stays fixed in the hallway.
Yeah, looking perspective wise, straight down.
And like
That's awesome
the
scene.
action is like on the sides until it spills into the hallway, quite literally. And Daredevil's just going through. And like one of the things that isn't really shown in a lot of these things is the heroes that we're following, especially in this Netflix series, is they're just humans, more or less. You know, of course, Daredevil's blind, but he was trained by Stick, and he's a trained ninja with some like supernatural powers. Danny Rand is just a human with mystical powers. The Punisher's just a Marine, although he's a Marine. So Jessica Jones is just a well, okay. She has powers that are given to her, so she's not really
yeah,
a
but
human.
she was experimented on.
Yeah, so
by Russians.
Not really a human, but and Luke Cage, he was also a human, and he just got his powers. But if we look at
now that's weird. If you go back and look, I don't know if you saw it when he was experimented on at Seagate Prison.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same stuff they were doing to Logan to turn him into the Wolverine. They were trying that. It's always super serum. They're always trying to get these super soldiers.
Well, yeah. So it's interesting that one guy in Germany in the 30s or 40s was able to crack the code, but like nobody else. Like when he gets killed in Captain America, nobody can replicate it. Like these smart people, even Tony Stark tries it. Stark. Yeah. Well, whoa. Howard and Tony both take a crack at it, and they can't do it.
But he can solve time travel.
Yeah, but it's just this one German dude.
Also, yeah. Let me see. They were trying that on Luke Cage. They were trying that on. There was another one that I would say is super soul. Well, that's what Oscorp was developing.
Yeah,
is a super soldier serum
in the Sam Raimi movies. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's everybody's trying to make a better fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know what that say.
So, anyways,
what does that say about our country's violent tendencies?
I don't know.
Well, we always want to be the best.
The first one was in German, so anyways, but no, what I was trying to get at is in that hallway fight scene, Daredevil's getting tired. Mm-hmm. He's feeling the effects of his fight that he's going through because he's just a guy. He's just human. He has his ninja abilities, you know, but at the end of the day, if you shoot him in the face, he's gonna die.
Right.
And so like he's kicking roomfuls of asses, but he's like sliding on the wall. He's like resting, waiting.
And then when he gets home, he's all banged up and bruised up and calls Claire to come help him.
Yeah, and he's just like I thought that was really really cool is that they show him getting tired. Getting tired.
Which is another hallmark of Marvel. Mm-hmm. Is they like to show the human side of their heroes.
With Tony too in the MCU because Tony just puts on a suit and goes rounds, but you can always see him after he uses the Iron Man suit, or not always, but like you'll see him, he's icing his shoulder. He's got scratches on his face. Mm-hmm. It's because even though, the suit is taking the impact for him, he's still feeling it. He still feels the effects.
It's taking like 80% or 90% maybe.
Right.
Okay, moving on because we're starting to get long here.
Yeah.
AEW Dynamite, our new favorite wrestling promotion.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I mentioned this in the last episode, is that I wanted a Aubrey Edwards shirt. And I described how I wanted it. And then we watched Dynamite, and I think you were on Shop AEW,
Mm-hmm.
Shop, I can't remember,
AEW.
and you're like, there's
ShopAEW.com.
yeah, you're like, there's an Aubrey Edwards shirt, and I grabbed my phone, I looked, and I bought it, and so I'm waiting for that to come in.
Yeah, well, you gotta track that. It should be here by now.
No, because of
But
the thing,
oh yeah,
because of the stuff.
AEW wrestling. I've pretty much given up on WWE. I watched a little bit of it last night, like the last part of the hour. But it's funny is because okay, one is we know a lot. We watch programming that tells us a lot of the backstage happenings. So that's one of the reasons that I'm really down on it, and I can't. I don't want to watch it anymore. Is because the way they're treating the wrestlers as people, but also, we hear about what the storylines are happening, and the storylines are totally stupid and don't make any sense. And but here's the thing too: is okay in 2016, Matt Hardy was working for another company. He had the greatest thing ever to happen to wrestling,
His broken gimmick.
the Broken Universe.
Yeah, that was for what did they changed the name?
It was on Impact. And it was the greatest. I mean, it was so dumb. It was funny. It was like, are you kidding me? But once you got past that and just enjoyed it for what it was,
Yeah, it worked.
it worked. It
Somehow.
worked so great. So that when Matt went to and Jeff went to WWE in 2018,
and they tried to do it.
They wanted to bring. I said from the get go, there's no way the Broken Universe will work for WWE. They're going to have to tone it way down, like they keep doing for everybody else. But now that Matt's gone over to AEW, the principles or the I don't know how you say it, what he brought as far as the Broken Universe goes, now they're doing Broken Universe type or inspired. Like
yeah, well, he is called Broken Matt over there.
Yeah, no, I mean WWE is doing Bray Wyatt.
Oh, and the Fiend.
The Fiend, the Firefly Funhouse. They did the weird match with
Undertaker and
no with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton.
Oh, it was
where they were projecting the weird scenes on the thing and him burning down the Wyatt compound.
Yeah.
So they're doing like they're in the Boneyard match
with Taker and Styles.
They're taking Matt's not ideas. I guess you could say it's.
You could give them. Well,
they're dubbing it
inspired.
They're calling it the WWE cinematic matches or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it didn't work. I mean, in 2016, it was the greatest thing ever to happen to wrestling. But when he went to WWE, they killed it. They made it all stupid. But now that he's gone, they're like, well, wait a minute. Let's take some of that stuff and make it
right.
And that's another thing I don't like about them. That's another reason why I'm not watching them currently. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to do what they're doing. If you can go by comparison into what they're calling the empty arena matches because of quarantine, AEW they're handling it so much better.
Theirs is pretty funny. And it's not to say that we don't like the talent from WWE because we do.
Oh yeah, the people are great.
The talent the way over there is great.
Written in stories and the way they're being treated personally.
Yeah, it's not good. Also, I think I talked about my top 5 last week favorite wrestlers, and I couldn't remember the girl's name, and it is Riho. For one very specific reason, is because Riho was pulling off Snapdragon suplexes on Nyla Rose, and at that I'm sitting there like, how is that even possible?
But she was doing
it. Like I couldn't believe it. But yes, Riho. Definitely.
And so I'm going to put Kenny Omega in my top 5. I like
Kenny Omega's a good wrestler.
So anyway, over to AEW Dynamite, storylines going are awesome to see Jake the Snake back.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually brought out the snake last week and he put it on Brandy.
Yeah, I saw that. Because
he's just been Jake Roberts. They haven't mentioned Jake the Snake. They've just been calling him Jake Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so good on the mic. He's up there with The Rock and Triple H and CM Punk, the dudes that are good on the mic. Jake Roberts is, I mean, he doesn't have snappy catchphrases, and he doesn't have humor. What he's got is you believe his threats.
Hmm.
When he's threatening you, you go, "Oh crap, this dude means it." And so his promos have been awesome. And then he came out and he had an interaction with Brandy Rhodes, and then she got knocked down, and then he left. Well, Murder Hawk Lance Archer was standing
Yeah,
over her,
like standing guard or something.
and then Jake leaves, and then he comes back with the duffel bag. I lost my shit when that happened. I'm like, oh my god, he's bringing out Damien, or
Hmm.
I don't know what this snake's particular name is, but
Damien number 10.
yeah, probably. And he brought out Damien and put it on her, and I was like, oh my god, I was like jumping out of my seat,
I would have
laughing,
shot
clapping.
myself later. Okay,
Um,
I don't like snakes at all. Terrified. That would have been me. I would have, one, never agreed to it. Two, I wouldn't be alive
she
anymore
probably
after
likes
that.
snakes.
Yeah.
Well, then think in comparison, the last time we saw Jake Roberts with Damien was in a Legends segment on Raw, and he put it on Dean Ambrose, and Dean Ambrose couldn't help but smiling, thinking, at first I got punched in the face by Roddy Piper, and now I'm getting Damien on me from Jake
Yeah.
the Snake. So he couldn't hide his grin. He was smiling
Yeah.
so much, and then the snake even pooped on him.
Uh,
But then this appearance of Jake the Snake, who is a manager of Lance Archer, this dude is
what are we talking?
unfreaking
Oh,
believable.
Archer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
my dude, I don't know where they're gonna go with this guy because he's one of those. He's like unstoppable, like
Strowman?
yeah, or uh, why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know. I don't
From
know.
Minnesota, the former champ, the guy that's never there.
Oh, Lesnar.
Yeah, he's unstoppable like a Lesnar, like a Strowman, like Big Show should be and should have been. So I don't know what they're
Old
gonna do
Taker was.
with Lance Archer, but this dude is gonna murder people.
I brought this up when we were watching Dynamite. There's a scene, there's a backstage. I think it's after his match, after our Darby Allin's match. I think it's after his, where I forget who's talking to him, but it's like one like you
Oh,
know you're
Taz.
Taz. He's like, yeah, you're like a loner. Why don't you come like with me and everything? And it looks like Allen refused. But I brought this up. I said, well, with how Darby Allen is portrayed as like, oh, pain is fine for him, he enjoys it and all of this kind of stuff. And also basically the single tag match he wrestled against the Inner Circle. He was supposed to have Moxley, but they took him out, and like he hot tags himself in, and that was great, by the
Well,
way. But anyways, getting off topic. What I was saying is because Darby Allen's kind of a skinny kid. Like he's in shape. He's a wrestler, but he's kind of a skinny kid. So what I was saying is, yes, go with Taz, and then kind of take him off TV for a little while so that he can actually work out and like get bigger, and say that he's been training with Taz, he's been working on his stuff, and put Darby Allen as a contestant against Lance Archer, simply because like the pain and like that. Lance Archer's whole thing is he picks you up and he destroys you and he throws you across the ring, but that stuff shouldn't affect Darby Allen. So he's getting beat up and everything, and he comes back in, but he's buff. He's been working with Taz. He puts it. I'm not saying that he would beat Archer if they did that, but I'm saying he would definitely put a wallop on him.
no, I think Darby Allen is fine the way he is as
Hmm.
the loner type character. Although the possibility the possibilities of what Taz could show
Hmm.
him,
Yeah.
him refusing Taz, at first you go, oh man, that's kind of dumb because Taz had such a wealth of knowledge. Taz did the same with Samoa Joe.
Hmm.
Back in Impact, Taz kidnapped Samoa Joe and then like just I don't even like almost like tortured him into when he came back he was called the leader of the Nation of
Hmm.
Violence,
Yeah.
and he was like an unhinged Samoa Joe, and that was Taz's doing.
Hmm.
So knowing that, thinking that he could do something like that with Darby Allen is okay, but no, I think. And then somebody suggested having like different legends teach Darby Allin different things because they have so many over there.
Hmm.
But I think he's okay on his own as this brooding character.
Yeah.
He just got to get off his losing streak, and it's okay to have a losing streak. You can't win all the time, or nobody would lose. So
Right.
there has to be winners. There has to be losers. That does affect the rankings for Darby Allin, but it's he's going this way. He'll come
Go
back
with
up
this.
this way later.
Yeah, because when the other thing that I was thinking is, although now I just thought of this, but I was going to say, who's really the threat to Lance Archer? John Moxley. But then I just remembered Jake Hager's over there.
Hager's a threat.
Hager
Brody's a
against
threat.
Brody Lee. Yeah, but Brody Lee's going against
I think
Moxley.
I know, but I mean, you're talking about who could take him, who
Yeah.
could potentially take him. You got to get the big guys in there.
Hmm.
Speaking of Mr. Brody Lee or Mr. McMahon,
The beatdown on Moxley after his match, and all he wanted was like the title belt. I agree with what Ollie Davis said of Moxley's response was the best of all you had to do was ask.
Ollie Davis from Russell Talk, shout out.
Yeah. I thought that was great. I mean, I agree with what he said, and I too found it funny where Mox was like, "You just had to ask," and.
And that's keeping in line with Moxley's character.
Yeah.
The guys that are in AEW that came from the WWE roster, if you notice, they were in WWE. They were all being held back. They were not working to their best potential.
Mm-hmm.
What Tony Khan has done is like, you're here, do something,
right.
Show us what you got. And they say, well, how about if I put Kenny Omega through a glass coffee table? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Just make sure you guys don't get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, let me throw Kenny Omega onto a barbed wire table. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. They don't worry about insurance. They don't worry about, they don't have anything to worry about. They don't have to. AEW is just, these dudes are freaking off their leashes. They can do whatever they want. They can experiment. It may work. It may not work out. Yeah. Just do it. And if it doesn't work out, do something else.
They've had to redo the Dark Order twice now.
Well,
because they started with Evil Uno and Mr. Something.
It's Evil Uno, and the guy's name is like Chris Slayton or
yeah, something like that. But like they came out and they were just like beating everybody down, and they had all of their creepers and they would like make a throne for Evil Uno. But then, awesome. Which was great, but like, well, it's like, well, they're a dominant force. Where'd they get all these people? Everything like that. So then they got rid of them, and then they started doing their promos of join the Dark Order and everything. And then they knocked down. They only had like 2 or 3 guys, and then they kept recruiting more.
No, they had, because when the creepers come to form the throne, dude, there's like 6 to 8 of them.
Yeah, but they don't form the throne anymore.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They got rid of them, and they started doing join the Dark Order, and then they started recruiting more and more people, which those promos were great.
Those were awesome.
Those were awesome promos.
Those are the best vignettes that were ever filmed.
And I wouldn't call it rebooting, but and then they're like, the Exalted One is coming.
They started that because they knew they were going to get Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
They knew it, but they teased because Matt Hardy's contract hadn't finished yet. It looked like it could possibly be, oh gosh, what is his name? Raven. Raven was sitting in the audience, like third row, when something happened between, it was
Christopher Daniels.
I was going to say the other one.
Oh.
Scorpio Sky. When he attacked Evil Uno, and they went over the fence, and then you saw Raven sitting there. It was like, oh, because if you think of Raven's character, oh, he'd be perfect leader for the Dark Order. So you go, oh my God, maybe it's not Matt Hardy, maybe it's Raven.
Maybe it's.
And then they did, and then they started trying to put the blame on or shift the focus to Christopher Daniels. And that was awesome. That was a great angle they did, and he even came out in disguise.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome.
And then I loved it when Brody Lee did debut as the Exalted
instead
One
of Matt Hardy.
Well, yeah, sure.
Well, see, their contracts were up around the same time
because they debuted the same night.
Yeah. Well, see, okay, Brody Lee is his name is John Huber. He's from Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
they were in Rochester,
Manchester,
New
New
York,
York.
doing filming, but so was Matt
Hardy.
Hardy because he was at a WrestleCon.
Yeah, but
So it's you still didn't know.
right. Well, what I was getting at was when he debuted, and I think it was Christopher Daniels who was like interrupted Evil Uno, and he's like, "We all know there's no exalted one. You're full of crap. Blah blah blah." And then he's like, "Excuse me, I am actually here," and you're ah. And then him digging at
His dig on Vince
Vince,
was the
yeah, he's
greatest.
like, "You're
That's
not the only out of touch old man who didn't believe in me."
yeah, that's like apply the salve right here because
Yeah,
the burn is
right.
third degree.
Yeah, so
That was awesome.
it
And then
was good.
it seems like that line has taken a life of its own and formed the
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 parody,
Mr. Brody Lee character,
yeah,
who are pretty much is a parody of Vince McMahon, but he's doing such a
yeah,
good job at it.
which is not where I thought it was
Me
gonna
too.
go
But
because Evil Uno was like, once the Exalted One gets here and you see what I see, some like your world will change forever or something to that effect. And I was like, cool. And then
they
he's
zigzagged
yeah
it into
they
this parody
yeah
of Vince,
Vince
which is based on personal relationship that John Huber had
mm,
with Vince McMahon. See, Brody Lee, Jericho, and there's at least one other guy.
Moxley.
Yeah, probably, but no, I'll just stick with Jericho and Brody Lee.
Mm-hmm.
They had personal relationships with Mr. McMahon, and that's what they're basing some of their stuff
Mm-hmm.
on is how they what they know, what
Mm-hmm.
they know, and so even Bray Wyatt's doing that too over in WWE, but
Right.
over here. I like the character of Brody Lee that he's doing.
It's just not where we thought it was going to go.
Well, it's not from the get go because now we haven't seen
Evil Uno.
Evil Uno and his tag partner, and they're number one ranked in the tag division.
Which it probably has to do with what's going on right now because they've said if you don't feel comfortable coming into work, you don't have to. It won't
Yeah.
affect your
So we
push, your
don't know what those
ranking, anything
guys
like
are
that.
doing.
So they're probably just trying to stay safe and everything. We are coming up on a lot of time.
Yeah,
We're
so
going
let's
over.
go ahead and we'll stop for there. We love AEW. Dynamite is on Wednesday nights on the TNT network. We'll watch it this week so we can have something to talk about next time.
Mhm.
Hopefully, their pay per view, Double or Nothing, is next week. I think.
I don't even know what time is anymore. I don't know.
So let's go along to some shout outs. We did say if you are a subscriber, we would shout out you on the next episode. We've got 16 subscribers.
Yeah. We don't have 16
We have
names.
6 names. So you have to comment. You have to comment below on your YouTube thingamabopper. And if you comment and we see your name, we're going to give you a shout out. We've got some other things coming. We've got some equipment upgrades. We've got some new segments that we're working on. And we'll give you more information on that as the episodes progress. Let's shout out. I want to shout out Aslan Lion. Aslan Lion from what?
Well, so the name where I get that name from is what I think it is the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Okay. That's the name of the lion.
So let's say that one, and apparently it's somebody that I know from Facebook, but I don't I don't know. Also, shout out to Cajun Kishi and Miranda Albertoni. You're gonna shout out.
Yeah. So I'm not positive on how to say this name. But I think, and I don't know where the I is supposed to be.
We know who it is though.
Yeah, I know very little Japanese, but I don't know. I think it's
probably an anime.
Rikumi 666 or 666 because whatever.
Because that's your sister.
Yeah. Krista Beal and Brandy C. So
shout outs to all of you.
Thank you.
You other 10 subscribers who comment.
So we know who you are.
And we can say your name next week or in the next episode when we drop it. So I want to say shout out to that. I also want to say a shout out to my granddaughter, Elena Rose. Grandpa loves you. And everybody out there in Facebook land and YouTube land.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys
and
next
please,
time.
wait, no. You got to remind them, if we're going to do this right,
that they need to comment, subscribe, and like. And turn on the notification bell?
Exactly. Just
That's
like everybody else says. So.
That's right. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Out.